Welcome, everybody, to the Broken Campfire podcast. Wow, it's our first regular podcast in a minute because of that ring of Elden. And I'm joined by two tarnished, Flask and Greg, and one defiantly untarnished, John.
I don't know what you mean by that.
Yeah, see, that's how untarnished he is. He's a
Maiden
pro.
status
It's kind of an
unconfirmed.
Elden Ring thing.
I think I've demonstrated my level of knowledge of the game. Last week, I've beaten all the courses. I don't even use cubics anymore, so I don't know why you guys don't accept me.
Masterful.
Yeah, so we had a podcast about Elden Ring recently. We were all very early. Well,
We did.
I guess we weren't all very early in the game at that point. That was about a weekend that we did that. But we spoke about the early game.
How long has this game been out?
Like 2 weeks.
That's nutty.
Two.
It does not feel that long. Or they've been a quick
Dude.
2 weeks. Maybe that should be on my personal side, but it's been a fast 2 weeks.
I don't remember
been
my life
faster.
before Elden Ring.
It's crazy. I've been playing so much. And John, you also recorded your perspective of Elden Ring.
Yeah, you know.
I
Let people
can't-
know.
Did you turn that one into a podcast as well, Flask? Can they find that on their podcast feed?
There's a video on our YouTube channel.
Right. So the Elden Ring review, check it out on either podcast for the audio or on the video. We have some footage of me and Craig just stomping around in co-op in the open world.
Oh yeah, that's definitely a podcast episode and a video.
Well, yeah. That I knew that for a fact, but also check out on the YouTube John's review,
Yes.
which
Please do.
he
I got
had-
a lot to say about the game. I really do.
and I believe he has some original footage of his own.
Well, yeah, that is included.
Okay. So check that out. Talk to us. Broken Campfire at Broken Campfire on Twitter or brokencampfire@gmail.com. And all that said, Greg, we're gonna start the roundtable off with you this
Hey.
week, but I think I'm clued in that all you gotta talk about is that ring.
Yeah, all I've done because I want to beat it and have it and be done with it. Because this game, they told me it was 30 hours, but I'm like 80 hours in, and I don't think I'm done
They
yet.
lied. They lied to us.
I think I'm really close to the end of the game though. But like I was saying earlier today and yesterday, I have been stuck on like 2 bosses, and I just can't get past them. They are crazy difficult for me.
You must
Don't work
believe.
well. Yeah, it's what people keep saying, but it really does not help.
Or
Believing can only get me so
bring your
far.
pals.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what I was gonna say. I have this good pal, and he came in, and while
Patches?
no, it was my good friend Laser, as he's called in the gaming world. But he helped me beat the one boss that was I literally took like maybe 5 or 6 hours to beat, and we beat it after like 2 or 3 attempts. And like the next day or today, I got on, played like maybe 20 minutes, got to the next boss, and I've been at it ever since.
Oh man. Yeah,
And this is
I've
a
heard there's a big difficulty spike near the end of the game.
Yeah, there's like a crazy difficulty spike. Like I was it was difficult, but not like crazy difficult when I started.
And
But,
gamers, let me rest the audience real quick. I've co-op with Greg, and he's not bad at Souls games. He's good. This is not a baddie.
Well, I am bad at video games. I
Greg,
thank
Greg,
you for that.
Greg,
but
I just went on a limb here. I mean, you gotta.
Just
Sorry,
go
man.
out there.
God,
sorry.
They're gonna think Andy's bad now too because he.
No, well,
we're
Andy
good.
Andy uses magic, and he has like a crazy katana. I've seen him do stuff.
Oh, the
It's
one everyone
crazy.
has. Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, he is a Buzz Lightyear.
I don't want to spoil the build for newbies, but I really think that like there's the reason everyone has it is because the prisoners int dex. It's not that hard to find. I can't even remember where I got it, but like it's just such a good weapon for the dex int build. And
Yes.
then that same with that staff that everybody's talking about. There's like 2 staffs that are just crazy good. The game definitely needs balancing, is what I'm getting at. But like people are of a certain build are kind of just naturally funneled to those things. You know what I mean? There's some builds that like require like weird complex combinations of things where you're like, okay, yeah, you read that on the internet. But I was using that fucking build for like 40 hours before.
It was just really funny. Yeah,
I've been talking about that build like all game.
Yeah, you've been talking about that. I'm like, wow, it's really cool. And then that picture or the meme thing showed up, and I was like, oh, yeah, it's funny. I've just been running around with a scythe, just trying to kill stuff.
I did notice when I started doing invasions how common my build was. That was when I really noticed is because so many people were using the fucking Moonveil, even people who weren't
powerful.
mages. So good.
And I do think that this game really leans towards making you a hybrid of some sort. Like I went pure strength with no magic bullshit at all. But I think the game really does, more so than any of the Souls games, expect you to have some level of
man.
I've also been thinking that, and like these last two fights, I've thought to myself, man, this would be a lot better if I had like some form of magic to work with.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, and like you said, it's a hybrid though. Like I could not play full mage. There's like some bosses that I just say fuck the magic and I run in with my blades. You know what I mean? Like it's totally situational, which I really like. You can't. It's not really. Other than like the really bullshit builds that are definitely going to be nerfed, there's not really any one-size-fit-all solutions in the game,
right?
Which I really like.
But yeah, dude, it's last 2 days have been rough, but I've been having fun still. It's good. It's good, clean fun.
I just can't believe how much time I'm spending in it because like
yeah.
It just melts away the time, and then I'm still discovering new areas in the game. But like, I really am scraping the shit. Like, I'm sure I missed stuff, but like, Lernia and Lingrave, for example, and maybe even Caelid, I would say that like, I'm confident I've got 95% of everything there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's how I feel. I feel like I've gotten a large chunk of most of the stuff.
Like I'm sure
I've definitely missed stuff, like quests and bosses I've missed, but that's why I would like to hopefully beat the game either today or tomorrow. Doubtful, but hopefully. And then I could see like what I missed, and I think that'd be like interesting because it'll be like, oh, I did a bunch of stuff and I missed like half the game. That's cool.
Yeah,
I was watching Andy's stream a day or two ago, and he found a boss that I was just like, oh, I never went down there. Like I fought something similar to it, but I just never went down and got that guy. So in my game, I just quickly went and smashed his head and killed him.
But that's cool.
There's one of the beasts in the plateau.
Yes, okay. Yeah. I remember that guy. Yeah, you fight him a few times. Yeah.
Yes, you do. I completed the game, and my final time was somewhere just over 100 hours in total, and that's having gotten, I would say, like 98 to 99% of the content in the entire game. Like I got every boss that I'm pretty sure I got all the bosses. Maybe missed like one,
Yeah,
and
like there's some nighttime rumors and shit like that. It's hard to some it's just
So did you guys say how many hours you're in?
Yeah, so I feel like I'm about on track with you. Maybe I think I'm a little slower because I'm doing also a lot of PvP, which I don't think you did, and I'm doing a lot of summons, a lot more than I think you did. I have spent like an entire day just playing co-op with somebody in this game, like Knoxville that one day. So my time is inflated, but I'm around 90 hours.
Okay.
But I'm just got to a new area like yesterday, or the day before, and like I still have a lot of map left. I think like at least maybe the last region I have a lot of it left.
So, because like Greg, the bosses you're talking about that you're struggling with, those are progress blockers, right? Those aren't options.
Yes, this is literally, I think, like the last thing I need to do in this area to go to the last boss.
Because it seems like maybe there is some optional content that you could still do with you said your late 70 hours, something like that.
Yeah, I feel there's definitely stuff I've missed, but like I know there's one thing I missed, but I just don't know how to get to this one part.
Okay.
But there's those, and I know I haven't done them because they fucking suck. The hero tombs. The hero graves.
Oh, sure.
God,
the rolling
worst-
things, yeah.
I could
Worst
talk
fucking
talk about them because they're like ones right in the beginning of the game, but they're these fucking dungeons with these like wheel monsters that you can't kill, and they just go up and down these tracks, and they are such a pain in the fucking ass.
They're an
Worst
instant
dungeons
kill
in
if
the
they
game.
hit
You
you.
get
sure.
all the way sent back to the beginning. It's awful.
I spent so much fucking time in the Mount Gelmir. Hero
That's the one I
rooms.
was like, dude, I'm not doing these. And I fucking left. That was the last. Every time I go to one, I just grab the grace and I just leave.
Well, because I was going to say, Andy, I don't know if you've hit this optional content so far, but there is some optional content in this game that is the hardest stuff in the game.
I have heard so much about that from
Okay.
certain individuals around us. I kind of
I'm not going to say any more than that because
I think I've heard
experienced that
about
for
this as
themselves.
well.
I didn't tell him off, but I did like say something because there's an individual in our Discord yesterday, and I had to tell him like, look, you have told me about this boss in like coded terms
Oh,
every
damn.
day since you've beat him. Like every time like we start talking about the game, he's always like, oh, but there's this one boss. And I'm like, I just don't want to hear it. I haven't got to it yet.
Yeah. It's definitely stuff you just experience, have that own experience.
But I'm aware
Have
that
that
there's
experience for yourself.
extremely difficult optional content.
Yeah.
Maybe we should like preface this with like a spoiler even.
I recommend
Okay,
that
I mean
everyone
whatever.
try it at least. Just to have
Oh, I'm gonna
fun.
conquer everything in this game.
cool.
I got my mind set to it. There's no doubt. But yeah, onward into the future. I'm looking forward to future builds. I'm also looking forward to balance patches and seeing how that changes up the game too. Not that like
Yeah,
I feel like
same.
the game isn't like in a terrible place, but like there's definitely just like stuff that's like obviously cracked. Like magic needs an overhaul. There's some spells that are way too good, and a lot of spells that are not good enough. Still a lot of fun, of course. Top tier design still.
Yes.
Yeah, it's great. Like I said, I want to beat it so I can go back to playing Final Fantasy.
Calm, cozy Final Fantasy.
You make it sound like you're tired of it.
No, it's not that I'm tired. It's just that I play Final Fantasy a lot, and it's just after not playing it for like 2 weeks, I'm like, damn, dude, I am missing a lot of shit I need to be doing.
The to-do list, man, is piling up.
I
Yup.
understand that it's a big investment of effort and time and everything.
It is really cool though that I'm 90 hours into a game and still discovering new content, and I have still not finished the story and discovering new areas and land masses and things totally unique from the content I've seen before. I don't know if I've ever
Yeah, I'm not
quite had a
used to
game like
games
that.
being this long.
So funny.
Usually,
that
I'm
they build
used to
this
like
as
oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, so funny that like in the pre-release marketing they build this as a 30-hour game. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
I was like, every game nowadays is like 30 something hours, like if that. And this one, like most of us having like 100 hours, 100 plus hours. It's pretty crazy.
All right, Greg. That's that's all I got on Elden Ring.
I have so much more to say on Elden Ring, but I'm waiting for our Elden Ring
Well,
episode, full discussions,
yes,
full
of
spoilers.
course,
Yeah.
of course. That is the proper thing. You know what I mean? I don't want to empty the bag here.
Don't worry, because I'm not going to beat this boss, and it's going to make me so angry. I'm going to quit, and I'm just going to be on John's side where I shit on this game nonstop.
Okie dokie.
We might-
I don't know where this is coming from. I didn't say anything bad about
John
the game in my
hates Elden
review.
Ring, and he's just filled
We
with
might try
rage.
to.
I
We're
remarked
trying to mix it
that-
up a little bit for that spoiler cast. We might try to get some special guests on. We'll see. I bet there's some people I can convince to talk about Elden Ring.
It could happen.
for a while.
You know, I remarked that they did some things that they have not done before in previous Souls games.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I got
Before
no
I
problem.
forget, I cannot drop this thread. Last week I announced the Broken Campfire group password, and it was way too long.
It
the
wasn't even our password.
Well, I wasn't going to announce the secret password.
You got to weed them out.
The Broken Campfire group password, it was in the episode description last week, is BCampPod. All lowercase, all one word. BCampPod.
BCAMPPOD.
Have
John,
you guys had anybody invade? Have you seen any
I've done
listeners?
No, not yet. But
Well, they're out there.
But also, I know I'm in a group that has, let's just say, 20 people in it. Our group, and it's not super frequently. It's not like I see people all the time because the way it works is like that shit, your messages, your bloodstains, all that. I think it's only going to appear if you're online.
Right.
It's also
John,
just plain tougher to be invaded, like
not that
in this game at all.
Not that I want you to play Elden Ring, and in fact, I think I even told you that like if you didn't like the previous Souls games, you're not going to like it. But
did it?
Having lived in a world without playing Elden Ring for 2 weeks, have you been more or less tempted, or not at all changed, into buying it?
Probably less. Like
Saw that coming.
the greatest hype is like right as the game comes out, right before it comes out, everybody is waiting for it, they're talking about it, and then maybe like the day it came out, everyone's playing it, and it's like, oh wow, oh, look at this, wow, oh wow. Yeah, no, now we're like we're 2 weeks, so we're past all that.
I would say not even entirely. Like,
well, I mean, definitely compared to, like,
yeah,
I mean, you got kids
but
on
no,
Christmas.
for sure, it's tapered off significantly, but the hype is still there. I think for a lot of us.
Yeah, no,
I've seen-
definitely. Oh no, go ahead.
Yeah, I've seen, some criticism that's been growing about the game. But for me, I think the gushing that we did on Elden Ring Impressions episode is the kind of feeling that is going to linger with me rather than the criticisms I have. Even though the criticisms I have might be building after 100 hours playing the game, the impressions that I had after 50 are the ones that are like, that mean something to me.
Yeah, for sure. And I could say even the same thing about my Go Disco Elysium. I've played it.
Yes.
Well, playtime doesn't really matter. Significantly less than Elden Ring by now, but I played it enough to love that game, call it a 10 out of 10, and also like recognize it has like some severe flaws to it. I think the same is true of Elden Ring, but like the thing is like a lot of the shit I'm not enjoying about Elden Ring, or enjoying is not even a wrong word. It's more like nitpicks. It's stuff like the balancing and stuff that like I know they've addressed in patches. So like I'm not that bothered by it. There are a lot of concrete, not a lot I would say, but there are definitely some concrete criticisms I have about the game.
Well, one thing that's more clear, at least watching you guys play, before as the game was coming out, maybe the first day, everyone was like, yeah, you might like it. It's not like Dark Souls. It's gonna be a little different. And I mean, I'm watching it. Yeah, they got to jump on. They got a horse, but I mean, and obviously I haven't played it, so this is more you guys. But the combat looks. I mean, if somebody said it's Dark Souls 4, I would have been like, all right, that's fine.
That is fairly accurate way to describe it. When people talk about how you might like it, I disagree with that because I really think that this is like a big love letter to Souls fans, and you're not one of those,
Yeah.
But what people are talking about, they're talking about the fact that one of the hardest things that turn people off about Dark Souls is that you'll get to a boss and he's just too hard for you, but you don't really have any other content you can do until you kill this boss. He's a wall. Elden Ring is designed such that like walls don't really exist, maybe until like the very end of the game. But like any point in the game when you're fighting a boss that you don't like, that is maybe too tough for you, that you don't have the right weapon for, or you're just not in the mood for, you can just go off and do other content. And the optional content in the game seems specific, or a lot of it at least. I mean, it's kind of the stuff you have to go out and find is harder, but like a lot of the stuff you can just stumble on seems like specifically made to be easier than like the big dungeons. So like
right there to build you up.
Right. So like that's what people are talking about, because like most Souls games have a linear branching storyline maybe that has like 3 or 4 different paths you can go down, but all of them will have walls. Whereas Elden Ring, it's just a big giant web. You can circumvent all the walls. Like Greg, for example, skipping the first area of the game, doing the second area of the game first, which would just so happened to be easier for him because of his build, and then going back and storming through the first area of the game. Elden Ring is never, or none of the Souls games have ever made that as easy as Elden Ring. But like at the core, like the minute-to-minute combat, Souls 4 is definitely like the accurate way to describe it.
Yeah,
Even
no, I
Martin
feel that.
knows.
There's definitely more of a game though that I would just, and I don't really do this with games, but if I was going to experience it, it's more of a game that I would just watch.
Yeah.
Like at the heart of it, I just don't find the combat rewarding. It's just not, you know what I mean? I just like,
It's not your thing.
it's not even that I think it's bad. Yeah, I just like faster stuff. I like dashes. I like teleports. I like moving quick. I don't like being a human slow meat bag. I want to be some sort of Sonic the Hedgehog.
You want to be Naruto.
Yeah.
I actually totally get that, John.
I don't think there's any.
But I mean, in this game, I mean,
there.
even more so, it seems like it's I don't know, not geared to casual, but geared to everybody, because it seems like you can, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, you can summon people more easily, or like co-ops more
that's why, exactly, that I like to describe it as maybe approachable is the best word.
Yeah.
Because accessible implies like handy, capable stuff, which this game I think does not really have a whole lot of. So like maybe approachable is like the best way to describe it, but like it certainly is like whatever, accessible is fine. The most accessible Souls game, easily.
Yeah, but see, my problem is if I play one, I wouldn't want to beat the bosses with co-op the first time around. I wouldn't. And not that there's anything wrong with it. Obviously, play the game however the fuck you want. But I know me, I would just be like, I don't want to do it.
That's how I've played every single Souls game until this one, and even this one I've done it most of the time. But like, I got to the point where like when I started realizing how big this game is, like this is 100+ hour game. I'm not gonna like sweat it if I spend like 2 hours playing with the boys to kill a boss, because there's gonna be like 90 other
especially
bosses.
if it's like an optional one,
Yeah.
I've heard some of the other not a negative, but some of the bosses they reuse, you'll see like different variations. Like, yeah, whatever. Who cares if you take that with the boy?
Yeah,
it's more so like the big boys.
Yeah.
And also the whole new
I
mechanic
definitely prefer to feel like the tough guys, the ones that like you get honor for killing. I definitely want that. I think Elden Ring is more encouraging than any other game though about you should just use summons. I still don't almost ever, but like the whole Spirit Ashes system is like subtly encouraging you to do that. Yeah, you can talk about a Flask. I've been talking a while.
No, I was just going to say that they introduced the whole new mechanic of Spirit Ashes just to say to you, hey, don't feel bad about helping yourself out when you need it,
Yeah.
Like upgrade these things, collect them all, and use the one you want. And, if you don't feel like traditional player summons are your thing, or you feel too prideful for that, then this is just like a magical ability that you can use. So you don't have to feel that way.
I'm looking forward to playing the game in future and like pseudo challenging myself, like maybe trying to do like a soul level 40 run or something like that. You know what I mean? Just for the hell of it. Anyway, man, that was a lot more on Elden Ring than I expected, but we kind of got back on that thread because John had some interesting things to say. So thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
Just an Elden boy.
Greg, you got
trying to make.
Greg, you got anything else to talk about on your roundtable this week?
No, because the only thing I've really been doing otherwise is watching 90 Day with Knoxville, and I can't get into that. That'll get us banned.
Okay. Well, I'll go ahead.
Just to know, people are miserable. Still,
I'll go ahead and pass the ball to John, who's had to sit out for a while, for the most part.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like I asked how long that Elden Ring has been out, and he said 2 weeks, and it pretty much checks out, give or take, a day or two, and that's just crazy because I don't know where the time went or what I've been doing, but it feels like maybe like a week.
Yeah.
But what have I been doing? All right, we'll start with the coolest stuff and we'll work back, I guess. I won't talk too much about it 'cause I know nobody else has probably seen it, but I have viewed the new Batman motion picture.
I have seen the Batman motion picture.
Oh, okay. It was good. It was long. But it was
3
good.
hours, yeah.
I think it was. I didn't hate the runtime. It wasn't like at the end of it, I was like, fuck, that sucked. But I definitely feel like there were some scenes they could have taken out. And there were like 3 times in the last half hour where I was like, oh, the movie's going to end. And then it just kept going. And I was like, oh, all right. Well, no, they're definitely going to end it here. This is like an ending scene. And it just kept going a little bit longer. But overall, 2 thumbs up. Totally, totally cool. Different take on the Batman. Very much like a noir kind of crime detective mystery, Zodiac killer. All the things that already been said type of movie instead of like Zodiac a superhero movie. A quick funny story. Oh, no, go ahead.
No, I agree with you. Like 2 thumbs up. It's a good movie. And I think that, what people are seeing who might not be fans of the comics is like a pretty comic book Batman movie. Like we've had the sort of like post-camp Burton films and then the stupid Schumacher films and then
that's what I've heard
the
about
Nolan
like
serious films all slick and everything. Yeah, and then this comes along and it's like dark and gritty and it's just like low-key grounded. Batman is a detective. He's just going about his business. It's a couple years into his career and it's just like a nice little comic book story that they tell. And what was the other thing you said? You said it's like oh shoot, I forget that I was going to mention.
Well, I mentioned the Zodiac killer, kind of like that's just who the Riddler reminded me of.
Type thing, like a detective thing.
Kind of like almost like a noir type too. The city's dying and he's monologuing to himself while only he can save it, and if it's worth saying, it's like typical cliche kind of noir stuff.
No, I was gonna say it's just like because we're in a post Nolan world, we sort of can play off that slickness that we had with those, and then make it a little bit more like gothic and dirty and grimy, and have it be a little bit more like retaining the realism while adding back in that comic bookiness.
Sure,
that's what I like that about it.
Besides the Riddler, is there any other villains in there?
There are other villains in the movie. The Riddler's like the main driving force of the plot, villain-wise.
Well, this actually, this goes into what I got a quick story real quick, and I'll tie into that. You mentioned this is, comic booky. However, I will say to folks, because, one, I don't think the movie was marketed very well, because it's not a secret that Riddler and Penguin are both in this movie. They're all over the covers. They announced Colin Farrell playing the Penguin. Greg had no idea the Penguin was in there.
Does the Penguin has like a series coming out also, right? Like, is that or am I just going crazy?
Playing the Penguin series,
as far as we know, I think.
I do not. know.
Colin Farrell is in that. That's cool.
He is the Penguin.
I do like Colin Farrell.
There's no way you could tell. Like, he's in so much makeup and not Colin Farrell. You actually would have no idea.
Well, you're not a Farrell head, so.
Well, you got me there. But hold on, that wasn't my point. Anyways, when I went into the movie, there was like a family of like 5 people and like varying ages, and they were sitting right in front of me. And this movie's, like I said, this is not your, if you're thinking, Batman, like whatever, this is not your, I don't know, is it rated R or is it rated PG-13?
I was wondering that while I was watching the movie.
I'm assuming R. I really thought it would have been R. And if it didn't, it was really pushing what you can do with today.
Like they say fuck
anyway,
a lot.
So they do.
It is rated PG-13.
Oh, wow, okay.
That surprises me. So in the very beginning of the movie, there's this family with all varying ages. They're sitting in front of me. And I'm sure they're thinking they're going to get into a Batman romp where he saves the city and Bane goes and does a little funny voice. In the first 2 minutes of the movie, you have this,
brutal
saran-wrapped face Riddler just brutally fucking and like realistically just like tackle a man and just beat his fucking brains in, and like
yeah.
right in the first
Shit.
minute. And as soon as that happened, like the 3 of the family got up and they left the theater and they did not come back.
Oh man.
And I don't blame them.
No.
But yeah, I feel like I don't really.
that's
watch
that's not something you want to watch with your kids, right? I mean,
No, I wouldn't. But my point is, I mean, I don't watch too much TV these days or whatever.
we'll go take the kids to a superhero film.
Right.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I don't really see commercials, and I had no idea this movie was even coming out. Besides the Little Caesars advertisement. I mean, was this movie advertised as just like another normal Batman movie?
No,
I don't want to be. But that night that we played D&D and I posted a picture of the Little Caesars Batman was the first time I knew that movie was coming out anytime soon.
Yeah, no, I'm serious. Same with me. I've never seen a commercial for this.
I'd seen about the movie, not like trailers or anything. I mean, I could have watched the trailer at some point when it came out, but I chose not to. But there was like pre-release imagery and stuff being released constantly, and the trickle was definitely
I
like
knew the movie was coming out.
No, but like this movie is dark. Like that was the marketing in the movie. It's like this is a dark Batman film. This is a gritty Batman film. So it's not like they were saying this is more violent than the Nolan films or anything.
He's like Batman, though. You know, like I feel like that's a given. But anyways, that family was not prepared, and they left, and yeah, it was a good one.
Good.
Yeah,
got him. First off, got him. All right, yeah, cool. Ben Affleck's Batman. Did you guys have any spoiler thoughts you wanted to share? Did you want to spoiler bunker us at all, or not?
No, we could do maybe like we could talk about doing a spoiler cast after this if Flask wanted to. I could probably talk about the I mean, not like right after.
If you
this,
want to, I certainly would. I could say stuff about it.
Yeah, no, I agree.
No, that'd be fun for me to listen to when I eventually see it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna wait for the HBO Max drop in a month.
Sure. Is it?
Yeah, I'll wait for that.
What'd
you say, Greg?
I said I agreed with you. I said yeah, that's what I'll also do.
Yeah, let's watch it together.
I'm down with that.
In more entertainment news, I was just up real late last night by myself, and I watched. I don't know if it dropped last night, or I just started seeing clips on YouTube, and I don't know. I had to have dropped in the last week. I watched the Boys animated series. They have like I think it's only like 8 episodes, and they're only like 15, 20-minute episodes, and they have like a different director for each one. Like Andy Samberg directed one, Seth Rogen directed one, different names like that.
Oh, there's a thing I had no idea about until you mentioned it.
I totally
I had no idea about it until Vito brought it up the other day.
Until Vito brought it up, and then I started seeing it on my Facebook. I will say it's a pretty solid watch. I think there were eight of them.
Was this on Prime as well? Like part of the series?
Yeah, no, it's on Prime.
Okay.
There's 8 of them, and I'll say like I think 6 of them. Maybe 6 of them were good. 2 of them I was like, this sucks.
I assume the one that you spoiler tagged in the Discord is the Seth Rogen episode.
I didn't even. No, that was the Aquafina episode.
Oh my. Okay.
I didn't even finish that one. I was so disgusted, and it's a bunch of poop fart jokes. Haha, funny poop fart.
Am I correct in assuming that having actual like comedic people writing comedy for The Boys is not really the tack you would have taken, like that we would have taken?
The Seth Rogen one is kind of like Invincible. So I mean, it's kind of like an Invincible style. Okay. There's literally fun. When I said there's a Rick and Morty one, I mean like
who's Rick? Who's Morty?
I don't want to spoil the episode, but I mean like it's. I don't know if they had like a special animation or whatever. But like it was animated by those people. I don't know if Justin Roiland doing the voices and stuff. Like it was a Rick and Morty episode.
Wow.
Not that those 2 characters were in there. Well, yeah, no, definitely there was a character there. There was they had a Christian Slater in there. You know, he was in an episode of Rick and Morty. Yeah, like I said, 6 out of 8 of them pretty solid.
All right, 6 out of 8. Some of them, 3 out of 4 ain't bad.
I would even say like 1 or 2 of them were like super solid. So definitely worth watching.
3 out of 4 ain't bad. I'll check it out for sure. When was that released? Is that recent-ish or?
Like I said, I didn't check, but it has to be in the last week because I've just seen it popping up and Vito talking about it and stuff.
All right, cool. The Boys, the animated series. Do we know when season 3 is slated?
They probably said, right? I feel like they've had to have. I haven't been
Flask,
too much.
Flask, can we pull that up?
It's one of those shows that I like. but I'm not following it too closely. When it comes out, I'll watch it.
When it's released, I'll watch it. Yeah. I get that. I'm with that with a lot
supposedly
of
June.
All right, June.
When's
June.
Speaking of things, this is kind of off topic, but when's that next Stranger Things season coming out?
Raise your hand if you haven't seen season 1.
That.
I have only seen season 1.
I've only seen season 1 as well.
Oh, dude, they have some of the coolest fucking monsters in that series.
I don't know. I feel like I just haven't been in the right place for Stranger Things.
Demogorgon did look pretty cool. I'll give him that.
Seems like a happy, whimsical show, and I'm not that kind of guy.
Jesus.
Yeah, that usually gets beaten out of me pretty quick, too. I get it.
That's media news. And then in gaming, in the last 2 weeks, I've been playing a bunch of Fallout.
Kind of your own Stranger Things, it sounds like.
I've been meaning to ask you, so how's your adventure with all this? I've seen you've gone from like you've skipped to basically the 3 different games.
Yeah, well, I started in Fallout 2, and I made it pretty darn far. I made it like in the last, definitely the last half of the game, because like the big twist happened or whatever. And I've done a little bit further, and like I really was fucking around. I have a lot to say about that game. I don't know if I want to do it now. Maybe I'll save it for another time. I don't know. Think about it. I gotta organize my thoughts. But I will say, and obviously I didn't play when it came out, but I underestimated the game when I originally tried to play it right after Fallout 1.
Yeah, you played a no intellect build, so you literally could not speak to people.
Well, the reason I did that is because I'll get into it a little bit. The reason I did that because Fallout 1, it's a pretty short game. Even not knowing what you're doing, like I went into it blind.
You can fumble
making
through
like an optimal character. Yeah, you can beat it in 10 hours less. And if you know what you're doing, you can probably beat it in like an hour or 2. If you practice a little bit and you knew your strats. But Fallout 2 is, and I didn't know this, it's just a much bigger game. And that makes sense. It's like a sequel. I'm sure back then they were testing the grounds with 1, and then they had the engine, and then they just put all their time to make it bigger. But it is just a lot bigger than I gave it credit for when I went into it. I thought it was gonna be like another one, like 1. No, I put like dozens of hours in that. I was in like the last 75% of the game, and I just fucked around in my character too much. I took a bunch of stupid perks like Kama Sutra, and my guy was like trash. And every fight just kind of, it was less about like, oh, I have a good build and I'm beating these guys, and it was more about like, all right, how many times do I have to reload until I get good rolls and they get bad rolls?
Man.
So whatever, because that's how like those games were back then. You just gotta like restart, and you're like, all right, I know now, and I'll do things faster. And I moved over to the Steam version, so the game ran better. So it was like I started playing, and I probably got like halfway through, and I was like, it's pretty fun, but I'm getting a little worn out on the turn based. So I started playing New Vegas because it's kind of like, it's the next game in that kind of series of West Coast Fallouts.
Uh-huh.
They reference Fallout 2 a lot and Fallout 1 a lot in New Vegas. I started playing New Vegas, and I didn't get too far because I was playing out. This is cool, but like, I want a game I can mod. I want something I can look at and it's nice and there's crazy shit going on. Then I started looking at Fallout 4 mods, and what really stuck me was it's called Project Mojave, and it's still in early access, but basically it's people remaking like the New Vegas map in the Fallout 4 world. And right now they just have like nipped in like the surrounding area, and then you can teleport to like the strip. And it has like NPCs in it, but all the NPCs have like the Microsoft Sam voice, and it's kind of unsettling.
Jesus.
Hello, traveler.
Yeah, I've super modded the game. Real quick, some of the cool mods I put on that just, I don't know, take away some of the normal tedium of Fallout 4. It's like, I think it's called Start Anywhere, and instead of being the whatever past man, you're frozen, you're looking for Sean. When the game starts, it asks you like what occupation you are, and that's just to give you your gear, and then where do you want to spawn and what level you want to be, and it just puts you somewhere randomly in the map. Not only that though,
how does that work with the main story?
Well, I was saying not only that though, and I'm sure there's going to be spots where it's impossible. But seemingly, it has cut out all dialogue about you, like being frozen and looking for Sean and stuff. You know what I mean? Like when you talk to people, like when I first like wandered over to Diamond City, and you're talking to like Piper instead of being like, where are you from? And it's like, oh, I'm from the past. Or yeah, where's my son? Yeah, no, she asks like, where are you from? Instead of saying like, oh, I'm from the past, or something like that, you have like 3 or 4 options, and you can like name cities from like the game. It was like, oh, I'm from Covenant. Oh, I'm from, Bunker Hill. It just replaces. So far, I haven't run into any dialogue asking about Sean or like looking for my like family or anything.
Well, I'd be curious
what's going to happen when you like run into Sean.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know.
Who are you?
Fuck off.
Don't you remember me, Dad?
That'll be really interesting. I would be surprised if they did something like rewrite his dialogue and then just cut out the voice lines or something.
Yeah, well, there was one cool mod I found. I would have to find the name of it. It was more of like a mission story mod. But it was fully voice acted, and one of the fucking voice actors was Commander Shepard.
What?
Yeah, it was cool. It was like you go to the memory den, and you get to like rewatch. It was actually kind of cool. You get to like rewatch the events, like how the Brotherhood of Steel came about. And if you guys don't know, like before the bombs dropped or whatever, like days before the bombs dropped, there were these American army people, and they're coming back to their base, and just normal whatevers, and they stumbled upon the scientists like experimenting on Chinese prisoners with the FEV, turning them into super mutants, and they were like, "There's no way America would do this," so they like killed all the scientists, and they took over the base, and they were waiting for the government to come in and like either kill them and try to silence them or whatever, and get any word.
Right.
But then the bombs dropped, so they were just waiting there, and they're like, well, fuck, this technology's evil or whatever, we gotta protect, whatever. And then they turn into the Brotherhood of Steel. So you get to like watch that through like actual like you walking around, and then like they'll do like a little scene, and then like everything will freeze, and you'll get to go over to different things and like press E, and there'll be like a little narrator and stuff. It was really cool.
Okay.
They got a lot of just crazy fucking mods for that game.
Cool.
Maybe
I'll try it again. I've tried to play Fallout 4 a few times, and I've always just immediately bounced off. But I've never gone super deep modding. I might do something like play like hardcore mode, but like with the mod that does fast travel and that kind of thing.
Well, yeah, that was another thing. I'm playing survival, but like survival in Fallout 4 is kind of trash. So there's definitely mods that fix it. Like a huge one that I'm using is Sleeper Save, which is normally in Fallout 4 hardcore mode, the only way to save is for you to sleep, which is stupid because when you sleep, it's gonna like almost every time afterwards, even if for an hour, and say, "Oh, you're hungry. Oh, you're thirsty."
Right. So you're never gonna be able to be prepared.
Yeah, it's just fucking you over. For this, so it's simple mod. When you just look at a bed, it'll give you the option: you want to sleep or do you want to just auto save real quick? And then other things like like a survival like mode, like adjustment thing. So like normally on survival mode, like enemies will do like ×3 damage to you, but you only do ×1 damage to them. It's like, that's stupid. Why don't we just put like both of us on ×2.5? So like I hurt you, you hurt me. You know what I mean? And you can take away like the first like 3 levels of like negative effects for like hunger and thirst, because they happen. So you can anything you can think of for like the survival, the rate you get hungry, the rate you get thirsty, you can turn it off. All that you can adjust it with these mods. Definitely you need to, because for normal Fallout 4 survival just sucks. A normal Fallout 4 kind of borderline sucks, but with mods, it's kind of shaping up into a pretty sweet game.
Cool.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing for the past 2 weeks.
Nice.
Sweet.
There's actually one day was literally just I downloaded these like nice texture mods, and they're all like 8+ gigs, but with Nexus mod downloads or whatever, unless you have like the premium account, you can only get the slow download, like 2 megabytes a second. That was just like a whole day. I just left it just downloading, and then I just went and did other stuff.
Cool, man.
And then the best part is like you got all the mods installed, and then there's like some conflict, and you don't know what the fuck is going on. You didn't run into any problems?
No, so luckily, because I know you guys are probably thinking, "Why John's modding? What the fuck?" There's this program. I don't know how often you guys mod games. It's called Vortex.
Yeah,
and it just makes things so fucking easy. Like even a caveman like me can do it. I don't even have to order anything. It just does it for me.
Nice.
My first experience was one of those is the R2 Mod Man with Valheim.
Yeah, I'm more or less pretty simple, just like that. And yeah, it makes it super easy for you to mod any game. I got like I don't know, like 20 plus on, and yeah, it just orders them for me, and it works.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's Fallout then.
That's Fallout. That's Fallout, and that's John.
All right. Well, that's John. Next week, John will update us on his progress in Elden Ring. For now, we'll move on to me. And you guys can just skip, 10, 15 minutes if you guys want to just go straight to the break and see what Flask has to talk about.
Oops.
I finished Persona 4 Golden before Elden Ring came out. That game is pretty good.
Hell yeah.
Fun story.
Hell yeah, it is.
Pretty fun gameplay throughout. I really enjoyed the social link system and charming little characters and everything. I think the game is definitely dated by its gameplay design. It uses like a really early procedurally generated generation type thing for its dungeons, and the dungeons end up just feeling really samey after a while, and are honestly a slog to get through, despite how fun the gameplay minute to minute JRPG combat can be. The Persona system's really cool. I think Golden is a good game to get into the series. I say as a guy where that's the only game I've gotten into it, but I'm excited to see Persona 5 Royale inevitably hit the PC. It's got to come eventually, right?
It has to.
It's gotta
That's what
be.
they say.
Soon.
So yeah, if you're looking for, despite its age, maybe a more like, I don't know, if you're looking for Pokemon, but you're playing as a Japanese kid, trying to solve a murder mystery by going inside of a TV with his friends, then, it's probably the game for you.
I forget, how do they summon the personas in 4? I know in 3 they use suicide gun.
In 3 they use a gun, in 4 they use like these cards that they just hold up in the air and they crush.
Yeah.
Okay, so a little
And
less
then in
violent.
5 they use masks.
Masks?
Yep.
Okay.
You rip the mask off your face and it's glued to your head.
All right.
Fuck.
I also, in the milieu between Persona 4 Golden and the release of the Elden Ring, I played a little bit of No Man's Sky. It's a game I never thought I would play because,
I fucking forgot about that.
Sean Murray and all that, and I left a bad taste in my mouth, all the line and stuff.
Right.
But, it's received many updates over the years, and that's the story of the game. It's just, hugely turned around. I could definitely see how that's true for some gamers. I think that game is almost, over-designed in some aspects that, really turn me off from it. There's little things like the spaceship that you use to traverse everywhere requires launch fuel every time it takes off. So you're always looking for resources to make launch fuel no matter where you're at.
How easy is it to accumulate those resources? Acquire
it
them?
is, but it just actually disincentivizes you from jumping around the planet because you're man, I don't want to fuck around and have to go find more of that.
Okay.
You'll spend a couple minutes doing it each time. Doesn't take a whole lot of time, but it's not 30 or 40 seconds. And it's not crafting something you already have. You have to go find materials for it,
It's like every new town you drive to, you have to I have to hit the gas station first.
Yeah, so it just subtly disencourages you from actually exploring around, There's quests that are real world timed. The flying around in a spaceship doesn't feel great, and maybe I'm grading it unfairly because I'm thinking of Outer Wilds, but for a space game, I wish the spaceships felt better and more fun to fly. For example, you don't actually land your ship by yourself; you just get close to the ground and then click the landing mode button, and the game autopilots it to the ground. It's little things like that. It's let me fuck around, let me slam into something. And I'm sure it's deeper than I'm giving it credit for. While I am sometimes just amazed at some of the things I'm seeing, it's definitely a very pretty game and a cool exploration game. It's a very chill game. It's also some parts of it you can just tell how shallow it is. The fact that the only thing in space that you'll see between object A and B if you slow down is asteroids. There's never anything else. There's never just empty space.
Oh.
You're always like going through a fucking asteroid belt. Yeah, it's insane. Like anytime you're not in hyperwarp, you're going through an asteroid belt.
That's not how the space works.
Yeah.
It's not how that
works. It's like, okay, I can just see how shallow this is. And it does that so that you look for gold asteroids or silver asteroids, or you mine stuff off of it and like whatever, you know. It's made so that in this huge procedurally generated universe, you can just hop between any planet and get whatever resource you need to move on. And that's totally I don't think that's necessarily a bad design philosophy. I think it's just a little too aimless and a little too crafty for a guy like me. That's not to say I'm like totally sworn off of it. I could totally see myself going back and just having fun exploring some worlds and stuff. It does have cool vistas, and it does have like, you know, there's a little bit of a dopamine hit when I get a new upgrade to my gun and I can craft things a little bit better. I was kind of excited to build out my base if I had more time to play it, things like that. But also on each step of like building up your base, there's like a quest involved that like serves as like a gate and like forces you to go out and like craft starship fuel and craft this, craft that. Every quest that's another thing. Every single quest is craft something. Gather these materials and craft something.
I forget. Is there even like a story to speak of? Is there anything like to do that's not that crafting business?
Yeah. So like there's quests and stuff, but like you go to a place, you like find the next quest marker. Usually you have to like craft a key or something to unlock the thing to get inside the quest marker or whatever. Okay. And it takes you to the next quest marker. I think the inevitable goal of the game is to get to the center of the universe.
Right. I remember.
I never ended up doing that.
Oh, you played the game. I forgot. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think I'm being fair about it or what?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I have 91 hours in No Man's Sky.
Oh man, I forgot you played that a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I bought it when it came out. I mean, and it had so many updates. I mean, yeah, no, what you've said is definitely true. I don't have too much more to add. I mean, the problem with me in the game is, you know, you can just see in the reviews, they've worked so hard to add so many things to this game, and they all just seem so
shallow.
Well, no, just unobtainable. To somebody like starting the game, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, I don't know how much you played, but like, you know, I've never gotten into like a rover in the game, like a car. I've never gotten into like a mech suit. I've never like they have like living ships, like alive ones. I never got like a freighter. I never built like an underwater. Like they have all these features they add into these games. So like because I was not like building upon my character or playing at the time, I feel like it's just too much of an investment because of the systems you mentioned for me to want to get to and actually try the new things.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm at with the game.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that those things might be a little more accessible than you think, if only because I've seen Greg with them. But again, Greg has the benefit of like starting as a new character and building up to that point. Not like,
well, and then we had that really bad experience. I did try hopping on once, and like,
oh yeah, that's right.
Greg
You hopped on. You hopped on like literally as Greg was rescuing me from a random system, and he rescued me, and we left you in that random system.
Well, it's not even like the thing is like Greg came back, but for some reason, and I don't know if it's a bug or the game, they haven't determined it yet. I can dock my ship on his freighter, but we can't leave the system. What the fuck's the point of the freighter then? Like,
but the thing is, like, me and Greg,
we were in a team together. We were a crew. Like, it's just so crazy.
It's so weird because you Google it and people say it's a feature, and when me and Greg try it, it kind of works because I do end up in the same system as Greg. But my game crashes every time in the middle.
Well, yeah, it works, quote unquote. Yeah, see, we couldn't even get there. It wouldn't even leave. So yeah, I mean, I believe that the game has come leaps and bounds, and I can see why people are, you know, singing its praises for turning around. But I don't think I'll ever see any of that stuff.
You know, I hate to say it, but like, that's just like make an open world game that's just like a small space system with like 3 or 4 planets, some things to explore out there. You know, I feel like it's not that hard.
I mean, even like a dozen planets. It didn't have to be the trillion billion like they said.
Yeah.
It's on Game Pass.
Oh, there you go. It's on Game
Well,
Pass.
it was on Game Pass. Yeah, that's good to mention. That's why I played it. And then in video games, I've been
I'd
playing
like
the
to get
Elden
back to
Ring,
that
and we
also.
talked plenty about that. On HBO Max, I noticed there's an Adult Swim tab. I've been kind of playing around in that. I watched all of Smiling Friends again. Still a good show on a second watch. I watched
Dude, I love that show. That's a very funny show.
I watched quite a bit of Harvey Birdman. Good show. And
Also good. Correct.
you know, I saw that as a kid. One I did not watch
Yeah,
as
I was
much
about
as
to
a
say,
kid
I've seen it as a kid.
was Space Ghost Coast to Coast. I know Harvey Birdman is a spin-off of Space Ghost Coast to Coast. So I was like, fuck it, I'll try it. I'll throw it on. It's a fun show. I mean, it's like nostalgic and weird because it's like a parody of like mid-1990s shit, but I'm having fun with it. I like Space Ghost.
After that, you're gonna watch C-Lab, right?
Sure, why not? I'll throw C-Lab on.
C-Lab was one of my favorites. when
I watched
was
C-Lab a
younger.
bit as a kid, yeah.
I never really got into the style of humor that was Adult Swim in that time period. And I still don't think I'm really like that. That's really for me. But I always thought it was funny that they just utilized Space Ghost as like a talk show host.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
That was even before Adult Swim, though. That was
That was Cartoon Network.
Well, yeah, but they call it like Cartoon Planet or
Boomerang.
something. It was still late at
Boomer-
night.
or something
I,
like
I think
that.
people say Adult Swim exists because of Space Ghost Coast to Coast.
Cause like you said, I mean, that came out or that aired. You know, we were still pretty young. I remember, I didn't have cable growing up. My grandma did, not my next door one, but then a different one. And when we would stay over there, me and my brother, you know, we'd stay up late. And yeah, I remember, you know, after like at 10, maybe 11 o'clock, this fucking weird show would come on. You know, Space Coast. And even as a kid, I didn't understand. I mean, now I think it's funny. As a kid, I didn't understand like. Is he actually talking to those people, or is this all like a
Like, how does
spoof?
this
Like,
work? Yeah.
well, yeah, like did they like steal that from a different interview? Like, why would these people agree to talk to Space Ghost? You know what I mean? Like, I thought the whole thing was just fucking fake, and I was like, why is it funny then? I don't know, but no, I like Space Ghost now.
Yeah, that's actually a good talking point. Is that you know, you have that thought watching it. Like as an adult, like it's obvious that like there's a lot of improv to it, and like it's clearly not a scripted entirely. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I did watch a little bit of Conan O'Brien has a episode, and I watched a little bit of. And these episodes are like 10 or 12 minutes long. The interview for it was like 45 minutes or something like that. Like they just released the unscripted interview. In the entire interview, the guy asking him questions is in character as Space Ghost. So it's not like a scripted thing, or they're like just like telling him to make
Right, like,
jokes or
okay,
something.
yeah.
Be funny
Like,
now.
okay, cut. You know, next I'm gonna say this. And yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Like
funny.
they have funny questions that sometimes are the same questions that Space Ghost asks, but like it feels authentic because they ask it as Space Ghost. You know, that was
Yeah.
fun to see.
Oh, it's a good one.
Yeah, that's my roundtable. And by my measure, we're right at an hour. I think it's about time for us to take a little break. We'll be back with Flask's roundtable, followed by the news. Yes, gamers, I know you've been playing Elden Ring nonstop the last 2 weeks, but the world has moved on.
Keeps
Keep
on
spinning,
spinning.
baby.
The world kept spinning. So we'll be back.
We'll be right back.
That's a good Space
That's the
Ghost.
character.
Yeah.
Nah, I dig it. What's the other
You know
guy's
what
name?
show?
Moltar.
Moltar. There you go.
Moltar and
Moldar?
Zorak. Yeah.
What were you going to say,
Moltar and
Greg?
Zorak.
Oh, I was gonna say another show that I remember on Adult Swim. I remember Charlie loved it, but I could not understand. I fucking hated it. Home movies.
Oh,
Oh, dude, I love
I
home
love
movies.
I like home movies.
Oh,
Home
I
movies
dude,
is great, dude.
I don't know what it was. I could not. For the life of me, I could.
I mean,
not
the
get into
animation
that
is
show.
dog shit, but like, it's just great. I love the
I know,
super
Charlie-
low budget
Charlie-
feel.
Yeah, all movies are good.
Hey guys, sorry I couldn't be there for whatever it was you guys were doing. You know, some of us have to work, make money, be successful. Oh, hey Ryan, how you doing? Sorry, that was Ryan Reynolds. I just walked past him on the street. He said, "What's up?" Video games. Yeah, I don't really have time for those these days. Kind of grew out of them. But, you know, good luck with that. I don't know, I heard there's a game that came out, a big game, like Lord of the Rings or something like that. So that's cool. Enjoy that. And maybe I'll catch up with you guys in the future. All right. Oh, hold on. That's Jack Nicholson up ahead. I got to say hello. All right. See you guys later.
Flask,
Hi.
I think you have some physics and chemistry to teach us in
Yes.
your roundtable. So you all, I think you completed the Elden Ring, if I'm correct.
I did.
In fact, you said so earlier.
We're the presence of an Elden Lord.
Hello.
Yeah,
Yeah,
not for
this
long
is-
though, because there could only be one.
Yeah.
But what else have you been doing?
This is going to be a long lecture, so everybody get comfortable. I'll try to make it, I'll try to speed through it a bit, but you did keep me silent for 2 weeks, so you had it coming.
Well, you've been playing nothing but Elden Ring for 2 weeks.
Right,
so.
right. I'm not even talking about the Elden Ring. We talked about the Elden Ring. That was that business. I'm not even talking about that. You know, it's been what 3 weeks, 2 weeks since the end of Peacemaker, and last time we talked about Peacemaker, it had just aired the final episode, but I hadn't watched it yet. So I would say, by the way, episode 8 of Peacemaker, which is the final one, is the worst of the series somehow, and Adebayo confirmed for most incongruous character in the whole cast. There, I said it.
Confirmed, okay.
Yeah, and Peacemaker.
Wow, confirmed.
Overall, you know,
Wow.
it's just kind of like, yeah, pretty good feeling for me. Definitely not without flaws though, and the last episode was the worst of them. Oh, I'm gonna toss out a rare YouTube video recommendation. I already posted this in our Discord, but with all the Elden Ring, I think it's not unlikely that you all missed it. This video is called 343 Industries versus the World. None of you watched that, right? When I posted it.
No.
Okay.
No, I did not.
I'm familiar with you posting it.
I remember, I think you posted it when I was playing the Elden Ring, and sorry, bud, there was just nothing else.
That's literally what I just said. I
take
just said, I'm pretty sure because of Elden Ring, you probably all missed it.
Yeah.
It's by Marco Style is the channel name. It's a feature-length documentary almost that has no commentary or voiceover. It's just a compilation of promotional material for and critical response to 343's Halo games. So Halo 4, 5, the Master Chief Collection, and a smidge of Infinite. The editing is fantastic in this video. It's basically good enough to be to entertain you just from the aspect of the editing itself. But the narrative it portrays is something that I think we've all been aware of, but might not have realized the extent of when shown as a pattern throughout the years that 343 has been in charge of the franchise. And it paints a very dire picture for 343, honestly. I mean, the ending is still kind of hopeful, like maybe things can turn around at some point. But the fact that we see so many examples of them not turning it around when they had an opportunity to, it's pretty dire. Pretty dire portrait. But I do recommend this video. Check it out if you have any passing interest in Halos.
Yeah. I don't know if you have it on the docket, but it's well timed with the announcement that the co-op mode has been delayed.
Ah, yes.
Until when? I was trying to rapidly find this story, but it's been delayed.
For the end of time, I believe,
Yeah,
was quoted. On,
Wow.
You know what? Actually, it was canceled.
Oh, geez.
Well, no, just delayed
No,
to the
it
end
was
of time, not canceled.
Oh, okay.
Indefinitely.
Sorry, I'm a bad host now. I invoked a news story without having looked.
They
it up
will
first.
release it when time and space these two exist and the universe folds in on itself.
I'm searching over
at that precise moment. They will press the button and they will say, "Co-op."
Okay.
I think when I saw
Halo
that
Infinite Co-op
news-
delayed again, won't release with Season 2 launch. 343 Industries is hoping to release the feature later in Season 2, with Forge still set to arrive with Season 3.
Yikers. I think when I saw that news, my brain kind of just glazed over and was like, I don't even care. Just when it's out, whatever. But for you guys, it probably means more because you're probably going to want to co-op when it's available, right?
Well, no. I mean, I don't really care, honestly. Okay. Like, it means almost nothing. Like, I'm not to say I'm not going to play it, but like, I do feel kind of like you do, where I'm like, yeah, whatever. Mm-hmm. I don't really have any interest in Halo as like a story or like as a franchise beyond as like a fun thing to play with my friends. So I'm just down to wait for that experience.
Yeah, and maybe someday, once it's been out for a long time, you'll pick it up with a friend,
Yeah. And I've kind of got a bad taste in my mouth for the devs,
Yes.
I haven't seen a video, but like we documented our own misfortunes here on the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not exactly like, excited to play it. It'll just be I acknowledge it'll be something I'll play and probably have fun with when it comes out.
Fair. But yeah, check out that video. It's good.
Yeah.
343 Industries versus the World. That's what it's called. Speaking of Halo, though, I'm sorry that Vito wasn't here for the Halo talk. There was one thing that I failed to mention about it last time because I hadn't written it down. But I found it funny and I wanted to bring it up mostly because in Vito's roundtable about Halo in episode 80, he had discussed the Master Chief Cortana relationship, and we discussed how it's been the subject of 3 games now, etc. When you actually
just friends, right?
Well, here's the thing: when you actually do the math of how long John and Cortana have known each other, it adds up to something like 3 or 4 months total.
I thought you were going to say much longer.
And the subjective time in which they interact with each other adds up to a matter of weeks due to being either separated or in cryosleep in John's case.
I feel like you can kind of hand wave like the affection though with like the fact like AI reasons, like she's living in his head, you know what I mean, kind of shit.
Absolutely. I'm not saying this is like a gotcha for the writing or that it's
like an incel
or that it's 343 is doing or anything.
That's a good point, John, but that is interesting.
Because I like your relationship, and it did exist during Bungie's games, of course. We also know that people who go through intense life or death situations together do have a good chance of bonding in a short time span.
Yeah,
especially when they have to rely on each other. So Cortana was literally, as you said, in John's head. It's just one of those things where doing the math sort of puts it in perspective. Like, we've had years and years of these games where their relationship has become the focus so much, but they've known each other for a few months. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Doing the math is always pretty good.
You got to think about brain time. It's like dog
brain
years
time.
Are different. When you're in someone's brain, it's days or months. It's a whole
of course
equation.
Makes perfect sense. Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, as for things I've been playing, though, I just want to mention a couple of quick games.
All right, mention them quick.
These were before Elden Ring, similar to your business.
All right.
I wanted to play something sort of light and fluffy at the time, and I had been inspired by that last Nintendo Direct where they announced the remakes of the Klonoa games. So I played the Klonoa games. The first one is called Door to Phantomile. The second one is called Lunatea's Veil. Lunatea's Veil. I forget how it's the inflection on that. And the first one's on the PlayStation, second one's on the PlayStation 2. There were also some Game Boy games that I'm not looking to play. And I did not play the Wii remake of the first game, which there is one. I played the original PlayStation version. It's very cute. Very cute game. Even the made up like language voices are adorable. It reminds me of like Kirby and its design philosophy of just pure cuteness everywhere, with a bit of Sonic thrown in, some OCs lingering.
All right.
And the first game is 2D sprites.
That sounds way past cool.
Yeah. the 2D is the gameplay is 2D sprites on a turning 3D track. Like you're on a 3D track that kind of rotates as you go through the area. You have a jump and an attack, and you can grab enemies to use against other enemies or get a bigger jump boost. It's a very simple gameplay structure or system, whatever you want to call it. But it's simple and delightful. It's just very nice. I just want to mention I love Klonoa, the character's design, and I don't really know why. He's like a cat with long ears and an oversized dog collar and a little hat. And on the hat is a little Pac-Man because it's a Namco product. So
right.
I feel like they were trying to make him like a mascot at the time, and it never really worked out. But he's always been kind of a cult franchise.
Like their Poochie?
Yeah. Klonoa had to go back to his home console. Anyway, this feels like a game that would have gone right alongside my love for, say, Crash Bandicoot when I was a kid. Like if I played as a kid, I would have really enjoyed this. And it's also worth noting that while it is a lighthearted, cartoony game, I would say it treats its story and ending surprisingly seriously. Like you'd never see Crash Bandicoot ending the way that this does, on a very bittersweet note for such a cartoony game. And one last thing about the first game: there's a character you meet named Solaire, who is a sun priest. Coincidence?
No.
Just the Italian word for solar, or something more?
Oh, maybe.
Well,
what?
I didn't know that part.
Yeah, I just thought that was funny. Solaire, who's a sun priest. Klonoa 2, Lunatea's Veil. It's just plain fun to play. You go from 2D sprites on 3D environments to full 3D, of course, because it's on the PS2. Seems a little more lenient than the first game, but still definitely ramps up the difficulty as you go along. Klonoa is one of the funniest types of heroes in this game because he's sort of still recovering from the bittersweet events of the first game. So this time he just shows up and strangers are immediately like, please save our world, prophesized hero. And he just goes like, what's up? Yeah, I guess. You seem all right. I'm not even from here, but yeah, sure. I can deal with it. Like I'm just a cat, man. I don't really know what's going on. I love heroes like that just aren't really invested in the situation or world at all. But because someone is like, hey, they're like, yeah, me, I guess.
Hey, somebody's
got to do it. There's nobody else around, I guess. I'm used to it. Klonoa is a bit less cute, and a little bit more Sonic OC in this game. The collar's gone, which I kind of lament. His eyes are different. They're not like cat-like anymore. Now they're like Sonic eyes. He's got a big zipper jacket now. Honestly, I prefer his door to Phantomile design, and I also think it's more unique for a character, but that's okay. I would have said that there's these extreme boarding sections where you're like, not like wakeboarding, but like snowboarding on like a slide down these slides and picking stuff up, jumping and trying to avoid stuff. I would have said they're clearly inspired by like Sonic Adventure 2, which had the escape from the city shit. But this came out before that, actually. So I'm wondering if were there boarding sections in earlier games at the time, or was Klonoa like a trendsetter for boarding at the time?
True, like the real trendsetter and all these other.
Because of course,
Sonic, just
late 90s, early 2000s were the peak of extreme sports.
Right.
You got to have the boarding section in your platforming game. But I'm wondering where that originated from now, the boarding itself. But regardless, the game is much more about spectacle set pieces than the first one. They had more like vision, ambition, scope, whatever. But they're pretty fun, these games. The Klonoa games are very enjoyable, very cute. And of course, I love platformers, 3D platformers especially. So I'm glad I finally got around to playing these. I almost like never picked these up. Like I just almost never. It probably would have been the kind of franchise that I let linger in my backlog forever until this Nintendo Direct, this Nintendo Direct with the remake announcement. Just like was like, oh yeah, those are games I could play those, and I enjoyed them. Comments or questions?
When you mentioned you liked a protagonist who just kind of like, all right, I'll do this. Immediately, my thoughts went to the game I played recently, Nobody Saves the World. The story and the protagonists are very much like that.
Okay. Well, it is called Nobody Saves the World. It's like, eh.
Oh yeah. If you ever get around to that one, I think you'll dig it.
Okay. Good to know.
I got nothing.
They make cute little
What
memes.
else you been doing?
That's it. I mean, that's all I want to talk about
That's it.
today.
That's it.
Wasn't that enough?
I thought you were gonna have a list longer. I was ready, dude. I was bunkered in. I was
buckled in.
I was just taking it all in. I think you described that very well.
Thank you. Yeah, that's all I want to talk about today. I'll have more next week.
Okay. All right. Hey, Flask compiled tonight's news. Thanks, Flask.
You're welcome.
Noose.
We have Netflix announced a Bioshock movie with no writer or filmmaker. John, hang on.
Okay.
Would you kindly watch this movie?
God, I fucking hate that they're using that as promotional shit. I hate it so much.
Now I'm not a movie man, if you will, but how is a movie announced and it not have a writer or a filmmaker?
I guess the production studio knows that they're working on it. They just don't have like talent attached to it yet.
Oh, hey guys, just so you know, we're gonna make a Bioshock movie. We don't know when, but it's happening.
We don't know how good the pedigree is going to be behind the creative direction of this project, but
get ready, but not
we
that
have the
ready.
name. We have the name for sure.
Plans for the movie have been in works for a year, but they don't know who the writer or the director is.
I guess
they
you
just
could do
know they're gonna
pre-production
do
without
something.
those people, but it seems a little sketch.
Yeah, wow.
All right, we want a movie that's going to introduce the Big Daddy as a character that we can sell things.
Yeah,
people.
As a
our market
character.
research says that people love cute things, so there's going to be like a little cute girl doll or something. I don't know.
A little sister, of course.
Dude, a little sister doll? That'd be pretty cool, actually. A little giant
first of all,
syringe needle.
Andy, very cute trick. Using your little
My
Bioshock tools.
Sharingan.
Yeah, to set my animals off. Very nice. Again, this movie's never gonna come out. It seems like all the other video game movies. Well, actually, no. Uncharted came out. That's one that did.
It did.
There's gonna be like another Gears of War, another Halo movie. Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it. And
Didn't
if it
the
does
Halo
come out,
series
it's gonna
actually
suck.
come out?
No, nothing's gonna come out. Actually, I don't even think a lot of the Amazon series. I'll believe them when I see them, like this Fallout series. I mean, I know they've named some actors to it, but they've done that stuff before. And I think I really do. I said this in Discord. I'll say it now, just so it's recorded. I think the first one of these is going to come out. This first one of these video game TV shows. I don't know if it's Bioshock, Fallout, whatever the other one was announced. Halo.
Well, Halo's
I
coming.
mean, it's going to fucking tank.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the other ones are going to get canceled.
I like to
could see
broaden
that
this
happening.
discussion, John, and let you know that Amazon signed a first look deal with GJ2 Entertainment, who's the co-producer of Sonic the Hedgehog, who seek to adapt Life is Strange, Disco Elysium, and It Takes Two.
What the fuck? What is this?
All right, Life is Strange plausibly could be a good show. I mean, there's no
What I
reason
would
why
want
Life
them
is
to do for
Strange-
that is make an entirely new story. Just like have a
Right,
new
you're like,
story.
yeah, why would you want to see, you know what I mean? Especially if they're saying adapt Life is
A
Strange.
more
I mean,
grounded,
why want to see
lamer
the story of
version
Life is Strange?
of the game story. Yeah.
I don't want
Yeah,
to see that
like-
girl get shot in the stomach and then beg me to rewind.
Just do it
time.
over and over
I
again.
wanna
really,
see that.
I really cannot see Disco Elysium working unless it's just
No.
something totally different set in the same world. That would be the only way.
No,
it could,
I can't
even
either.
then,
I-
so much of
Yeah.
it's like a personal experience with all the skills and everything. Like,
Yeah.
can you imagine that
even-
they'll have like sequences where he goes into his mind palace, a la Sherlock, and like he's arguing with like different famous actors who are playing his. That's probably what they're going to do.
Well, yeah, or like, you know, or even just more so, there's just going to be a Harry that's just going to be completely different from the one you know.
Yeah.
your one might be sober, and in this show you might be like, oh, I still love the booze. You know, it's like, who is this guy? Like, you're defeating the whole purpose.
And if you try to make him
Of, like,
everything, then you're going to have a
amnesia.
very inconsistent Harry, who is like hard to relate to
Yeah.
or follow as the protagonist of your show.
Yeah, I don't have. And then what? It takes two. Like, what is it?
It Takes Two is definitely the
don't-
least likely to. I mean, that was the worst.
You're gonna watch
I feel
the
like that
divorce.
can't
You're gonna watch the
transfer
divorce
over well.
proceedings.
Yeah, dude, that's not gonna
No,
transfer
like
well
the-
over to a.
I didn't think It Takes Two story
a-
was like terrible. I thought it was actually pretty good, other than like a few obvious missteps. But, it's not ever something I like. It was just there to facilitate like a really good game. You know?
Really
And it
unnecessary
was
to tell
also
in a different
done
medium.
like,
Yeah,
like it was.
yeah. They got back
Yeah,
together.
well, I guess that's another
They
thing.
fixed the marriage.
But yeah, are they gonna retell it? 'Cause if they retell it, it's like absolutely 0%. Why would you ever do it? And then like, even if it's whatever happens after, it's like,
Yeah.
what are you just gonna? It's gonna be a fucking family, and like every now and then a magic book shrinks them down. Like,
Well, the only thing I could see is
what?
it being
Like-
like an animated thing where they just are like, whoa, we're going through the tree. Oh my goodness, we're going on an adventure. It's like crazy.
Oh, here's the episode where we argue with the squirrel people.
Yeah.
yeah, I would not.
It's just,
Do not want.
I don't know. Like that game's whole experience was playing it. It was so good at being
Yes.
played. I cannot
Yeah,
like
no,
I,
100%.
I cannot imagine it as a story thing. Ugh. Yeah, but yeah,
10-minute segment of them playing mini games.
All this shit's gonna suck.
Well,
But
don't
I
say
think
all
you're-
this.
I think you're going to say that like you think after the first one of these bombs that like the whole thing is gonna stop and people are gonna start pulling out.
Well, that's my hope. I don't know. I think somebody's. I don't know if it's illegally or what. Somebody's making money somewhere. It's the same thing with these fucking live action Netflix anime adaptations. I don't know who's ever rated them well, but somehow they still keep coming out.
True.
Like somebody's making money
I
somewhere.
bet there's
somehow.
I bet there's people who make money no matter what. They just need to see a movie made, and they like find ideas that are easy to like convince out of touch executives that like, yeah, we could partner with here, and like it would be a big movie, and then like who cares if it fails?
Yeah, I guess it's just so crazy that they keep failing but keep coming out. Like
They never work.
none of them. None of them. I don't think any of them have been rated well.
Well, Sonic the Hedgehog is maybe the
Well,
only exception,
I mean,
and like Detective Pikachu, like they're like literally like the two major exceptions.
Well, no,
kind of
no, no. In
exception
this,
to the
I mean
rule, yeah.
specifically like Netflix to anime.
Oh,
Like they did Death
sorry.
Note. They did
sorry. I thought you were
the.
just talking about video game adaptations, but you're talking about
Oh
Netflix
no,
anime.
video game,
No.
whatever. That's doable.
Yeah.
No, I mean like specifically these Netflix ones that are like Cowboy Bebop, like they're doing the One Piece, like they did Death Note. Like everyone hates these, and they keep doing them.
What if
Who's
what if
making-
what if Netflix just makes that much money off the people who like are following the buzz and are just curious enough to like subscribe for a month to watch
It's
it?
possible.
Like what
The people
what
who
if like
I guess that's crazy.
what if Netflix has like discovered the secret is that like you literally don't need to make good content? I mean,
the people who are part of like the
Seriously.
social media fandom of a product of a franchise, an IP, who are like
yeah.
the people who are vocal about it because they're out in the open about it, and they just proclaim their love for the thing, and they'll watch whatever, they'll look at whatever you throw at
Yeah.
them that has the name.
Oh, I think it's going to be on that tier. I mean, I know it's Amazon. You know, they're probably willing to spend more money, but I think it'll be as trash or as cash grab as any of that Netflix stuff.
And I bet they specifically like try to cheap out on the talent as much as they can because they don't give a fuck. Like they just need to see something made in that universe.
Wouldn't put it past them.
Quick pump and dump, you know.
Yeah, that's why it was so weird to see Willem Dafoe in that fucking Death Note one.
But hang on,
But he
let
was
me-
like
let me-
perfect though for that.
Let me
yeah.
let me pull us all back for the
He-
brink. All right, Willem Dafoe
Please.
was perfect in Death Note for sure, but
He had to have had a family member who told him to do that. I bet my soul on it or something.
please, Jerry Bruckheimer is producing a movie based on Beyblade toy franchise for Paramount.
Striking while the iron is in the Arctic tundra. Where, What?
Well, I'll say this. This one time, probably within the last 5 years, last 5 or 6 years, still when I was well within my 20s, was in my grandma's basement with like 5 or 6 other people, and it was like 2 in the morning, and they wouldn't fucking leave my house because they were playing Beyblades, and they, we were partying before we were trashed, and eventually I was like, look, Alex was there, so I didn't care. I was like, look, I'm going to sleep. Y'all can play Beyblade as long as you want. I'm done. So the audience is there, right? If you make the fucking Beyblade movie, people will come.
That's so funny. So I remember.
It was insane. I could not comprehend what was happening. I like in my, back in the day, I have like the little bowl.
Me too.
I have like a whole set of them. You can like mix and match and stuff. And oh yeah, dude, I had the set.
You're bringing that, right?
No.
Oh jeez, no.
The old meetup play Beyblade tournament. Yeah, I brought that shit to school one time for like I was in like an after school thing. I brought it one time, and me and a few buds started Beyblading, and it was so boring. We were just like, there wasn't even an outspoken word about this, but we were just all kind of thinking, you could see it on anyone's face, like, what is this it? We're just like,
oh, we were loving it, dude. We would like throw shit in like the arena and stuff.
Okay.
We would like try to.
I almost feel like adults could have more fun with Beyblade than kids would.
Yeah, dude, it was kind of fun for a while. I mean, we're more fun than me, but
Beyblade.
Do you think? Do you think Jerry Bruckheimer is gonna part the Red Sea on screen, or is he gonna be a coward?
I think he's gonna have to. They have to show the history of the blade.
You gotta show the history of the Beyblades. Or else, what are we here for? What is the meaning behind
is
the blades?
Is that what the Beyblade did?
Oh yeah,
it part of the Red
Moses
Sea?
part of the Red Sea with a
Beyblade.
With a Beyblade.
Yeah, that's
dude,
how he
it's
parted
canon.
the Red Sea when he
Crazy.
was getting all the people, escaping. With
I think Jerry Bruckheimer has it in him to portray
they were escaping
historical facts.
the Egyptians.
Yeah, he fucking let it
from
rip.
Their Yu-Gi-Oh duels.
Let it rip, God.
We must use the Beyblades to beat the monsters.
It worked.
Wow.
And so it is. And so it be. And so it is that Bethesda is retiring their launcher and moving it to Steam. Well, by moving it, I mean all their products.
Finally.
I guess this just makes sense. What with the Xbox Game Pass anyway, right?
Right.
So they'll continue hosting stuff on Steam because why not? But also, yeah, they made no point in having their stuff across the Game Pass and the Bethesda launcher.
It's funny. This is making me think. Like, do you think that Microsoft could potentially like make an Xbox on PC platform for stuff like this, like a Steam competitor, or do you think that's not in the cards ever? That they would try that.
It's hard to.
Seems like they would rather work with them. I mean, just by reading like this,
Yeah, and in fact, that's the next story is that Valve has no plans for Steam Pass, but Valve would work with Microsoft to put Game Pass on Steam. That's the closest I see happening because, like,
right.
I think one of the big things that none of these other launchers have ever been able to hit Steam on is the user experience. Like, none of every single launcher, including GOG, it just has features that Steam doesn't have, or just is missing features that Steam has had for years. You know what I mean? And you add that to the fact that like Steam is like the platform that everybody has used for years, so all your games are already there. It's really hard to beat it.
It is.
Right, especially the longer time goes on, the more games you're going to have on Steam, more you're going to be incentivized to stay with it
in that ecosystem.
You know what I mean?
Yep. I really like the comment that it's hilarious watching Steam just win the launcher war, however you want to call it, by basically doing nothing. While all these other launchers are trying to out-innovate each other and coming short of Steam.
That's that's the fruit of Gabe Ben's old quote that's bandied about everywhere. It's like, the solution to piracy is just better, better service or whatever. Like, just provide a good service and people flock to it.
100%.
But Microsoft putting Game Pass on Steam is something I could definitely see because. Really, why not? I mean, if Microsoft, if all they really care about is subscribers to Game Pass, I'm sure that would go up if all of their content was available on Steam. But at the same time, that actually enters into a really weird realm with the multiplayer content and the servers and how that works. Because I know that games that are crossplay with the Xbox are not necessarily crossplay with Steam. You know what I mean?
That is an
Like,
interesting question.
Deep Rock Galactic was the classic example of a game that was on the Game Pass where it was crossplay with users on the Xbox version, but you could not crossplay it to play with your friends on Steam.
Okay. Huh.
But it was because they ran on like 2 different versions almost.
Right. Maybe it'll get to a point
it's
where
just something. Which I'm sure you're going to run into a lot, right? Because until I don't know, it's hard to say, but at least until they kick the bucket on this, latest, not latest, but whatever earlier console generation, like they're still putting out games, and it's holding like other games back,
But I wouldn't be surprised if that's always going to be a case, though.
Well, yeah, I guess maybe there'll be like a sweet spot for a year or two where it's like, oh, yeah, things are kind of, and then they're just gonna fall back for sure.
It's like the whole thing where, people used to. It's much less true these days, but like in the early 2010s to mid 2010s, people lamented that PC games were not as good as they could be because the games were made to also be made on the console. You know what I mean? I don't think that's necessarily nearly as true these days, but it's kind of a similar vibe. Knockout City will soon be going free to play. That was a fun game.
Yeah, we kind of fell off of
going
that.
free to play. Yeah, I'd be down to play it again, but the Elden Ring is probably going to take up most of my 22.
Yeah, I don't know that it would ever enter my mind to play it again. But if anyone ever was like,
that's the big
we're
thing.
We're gonna throw up
like,
Knockout City over again, I'd be like, yeah, sure.
I feel like I would have always played it if like somebody been like, let's play it, but like because I don't feel like I ever was like, no, I don't want to play it, but we just after a few weeks, none of us just said that to each other.
Yeah,
I guess you could call this game Knocked Out.
Ooh. But it's going the Rocket League route though, right? It's like it's probably good for the the user base of Knockout City that'll be free to play. I don't know.
Probably. I bet it'll see. At least an initial spike. If it stays there or not, I guess that's on the game. But
so maybe we'll use that as an excuse to crush some fools.
Right.
Yeah. All the new people are gonna be in there. It's time to stomp on some fucking schmuck.
Let's talk about the real news.
Yeah. Possibly signaling future content. The history page for the Resident Evil series on Capcom's website has been updated with touched-up artwork and info from Code Veronica.
This is so embarrassing.
And Resident Evil Outbreak.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Everybody,
and the Outbreak games.
Resident Evil Outbreak. This is crazy.
Animals grasping at little animal straws.
Me and Noxo are like little fucking gross tarnished goblins.
Look, John, I'm a human grasping at human straws, okay? I'm a full-size man grasping at man straw.
But, yeah, like it says in the news thing, they updated a bunch of the models, and a bunch of models they did update were from, Outbreak and Code Veronica. Like they show some of the animals from Wild Things. The first, whatever the hell it's called, scenario.
Zoo level.
From the second game. And like they show one of the alligators, and it's like super upscaled. It looks pretty dang nice, but yeah,
that alone is cool that they
hopefully this
add some
means.
new stuff, but.
I think this means, if I had to really guess, we're gonna get like a remake, or not like a remake, like Resident Evil 2 and 3, but we're gonna get like a remaster of these two games.
At this point, I'd take
Outbreak
that.
and Code Veronica.
I'd take that, right?
Yeah, I would totally.
Code Veronica for sure would be like great for just like a remaster, but Outbreak, just some kind of re-release
that's
or remake.
A game
or
I feel like
whatever.
needs a remake.
For
me personally,
sorry.
I think remake or Code Veronica needs a remake because like they cut a lot of content when they made that game.
Right.
And I feel like they could just re-add all that stuff they wanted to add.
Sorry, what I actually meant was I said the wrong thing. I meant Code Veronica could really use a remake, like the RE2 and RE3 games. But Outbreak, I would totally just take a re-release, a remaster, just to have it back in.
Make 3, because if you release Outbreak 5, 1, and 2, those two are gonna sell like hotcakes.
Yes, absolutely.
I think personally,
that'd be great.
I cannot wait. for some Outbreak.
Unfortunately,
Neither
you will be.
can I, but I have been.
Neither can I wait, nor can I wait for yet another Pokemon game coming later this year. In fact, 2 of them, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. That's right, you
Well, this is
nerds.
the
You
next
haven't even had
one.
time to play Pokemon Arceus, but hey, it's Scarlet.
This is different. This is on a different track, though.
Yeah,
this isn't
the
the same.
next. This is the next gen.
What I understand, what
This is
traditional
this is
Pokemon game.
Treyarch's Pokemon. This is an Infinity
Yeah.
War.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, Greg, to you, does it look like it's going to be like Sword and Shield, or like they're going to keep doing the Arceus thing?
If it's gonna be like Sword and Shield, I'm not going to buy it. I mean, I didn't buy
Fair.
Sword and Shield, but I just think they're not fun.
The little snippet
I don't.
that video seemed to imply an Arceus style, right?
Well, Sword and Shield also
Oh,
looked
the opposite.
open world. Like it looked, the
Yeah,
Pokemon were
bro.
out in the wild and everything.
Wait, I thought that's what Arceus was.
That's like a big thing. It's the Pokemon around the wild, and you can like actually catch them, like run around.
Were they
scrambling
actually
for
walking
stuff.
around in the trailer for Scarlet and Violet?
They were, but they were. I don't know, dude.
On that video, John
it's
jumped to around
trailer.
like 12:50 maybe 12:45 50. I don't know. Maybe I'm looking into it, but it definitely like seems to imply. I get.
Like 12, yeah, like in
I
12 minutes.
guess 12 minutes. The
basically
whole
have
minute if you
Pokemon,
skim
like,
through it, it like does this whole panoramic shot of like the open world and like people walking around and stuff. Like, I definitely feel like I'm getting the impression it's an open world game.
Well, I mean, they're all
Hey.
kind of open world games. You know what I mean? I know what you're saying, like more Arceus style.
Yeah, I
As
get
long,
what you
yeah,
mean.
as
I
long
get
as
what
they
you
can
mean.
stick with that,
Well,
because
no,
I
they
feel
do
like
Pokemon walking
that was
around.
their-
yeah,
their
kinda-
good
kinda looks
innovation.
Like that.
It's just I'm really hoping that it's not. Oh, when you go into a battle, it's the screen goes dark, and now you're in you're in like this like enclosed dimension, this pocket dimension where you fight the Pokemon in.
The Shadow Realm.
Yeah, the Poke.
Did you guys notice that the framing is kind of odd, like interesting? There's the framing of the trailer is that of a security guard at Game Freak's offices being assaulted by the game's power, and he's like, you could read that as him being
Love
like
it.
sucked into the game. So I'm wondering if there's a reason for like the isekai coding to the framing device for the trailer.
Everyone loves the Sekai.
That's what I'm
Flask.
saying. Is
You
like,
and I
are they going to
both
do that
love
again
it.
for this one because everyone loves that and it was in Arceus, or are they going to stick with tradition? Because it would be weird to suddenly just like veer off into isekai as the new thing for all the Pokemon games, even the main line.
I feel like that would be very funny. Like, you know how movies, they just keep basically remaking, and with some video games they just keep remaking the same thing over and over
Yeah.
again. Is that Pokemon does it, but they just take the main character that everyone loves and they just keep isekaiing him to like a different time period.
right.
No, I didn't draw the line between the Arceus, being an isekai too. I thought it was more just like it kind of reminded me of like a '90s commercial almost.
did.
Like he looked at the thing and it was like overpoint power, and then a bunch of shots come out and it's like bye now, and then like a bunch of fast. It wasn't exactly that, but that's what it reminded me of.
We'll see what it's like. If it's, I mean, it's gonna come out in the fall, so
But why?
we'll see.
Why does it have to look so bad still? Because the Switch is a
It
phone.
does.
All right.
Dude, I don't like the new player model. I think the new character model looks weird.
Just
I
everything
think it's
looks
definitely
so
the whole.
bad.
I think it's like the Switch is just pretty.
Underpowered,
The Switch was
yeah.
already not like super impressive hardware wise, but like in recent years, I feel like you're just getting.
Yeah, they
It's starting to
definitely
look worse
they
by
definitely
22.
gotta start working on
And
their
it seems like Game
Switch
Freak has
Pro,
no-
if you ask me.
They're not compelled like Nintendo tends to be in terms of like trying to wring all the graphical fidelity they can out of Pokemon. They're just like, well, slap together some
Because-
assets and
Yeah, like why bother warning how to do that?
Right. We already make
People
all
will
the
buy
money.
it.
Screw all the haters, the losers, the doubters, the cheaters, and the liars out there, because John DiMaggio is officially joining the Futurama revival
Eat shit,
after
who
holding out
cares?
for a while. I know there was a lot of people who weren't sure if that was going to end up being true, but he's back, baby. He tweeted everybody to buy his shiny metal ass.
That's a line that Bender says in the show Futurama.
Yeah, it's actually. Well, Flask already said it, but yeah.
That's a quote.
Publicity stunt, and they had him the whole time.
Well, he says it's
never
because
I don't know why you say that. Like I mean,
he says
just,
it's because
you know,
he didn't feel that what they were being. I mean, he says that what we were all being paid was like fair for this, this caliber of thing coming back to this huge property. That's just what he claims, is that like he didn't think the salary or whatever was fair, and that he was holding out for some kind of negotiation.
Just the perfect excuse, right? Because like, then he looks good. He's coming back to the show. Whoever it is, Fox looks good because like they're giving him more money. Like, oh, they're cool. They're actually paying him. Oh, total fucking bullshit.
All right, John calls it bullshit.
I like him. I like his. I don't even blame. I mean, I like his. I think he's a great voice actor.
I do like him.
I love pretty much all the voices he does. I'm not going to hate on him. I just don't believe this was a real thing for a second.
No, I agree. And we've talked a lot about how this revival is fraught from the whole start, but I do like how Mike Cohen seems to be having fun with the self-deprecating nature of it. He quote, "For the fourth time, it's a once-in-a-lifetime thrill to be back with the original cast of phenomenal animators."
Who is Mike Cohen?
The main guy, one of the main guys.
I was never like really
or David
about...
Cohen. Not Mike Cohen.
Okay. Oh wait. Okay.
Futurama was made by Matt Groening and David Cohen.
Okay. Yeah. So I can think about seeing his name in the credits. Actually, now that I think about it.
Yeah.
Cohen.
Yeah, I was say that's pretty much where I know the.
He was like
popping up the little credits for the crash.
He did Simpsons and Futurama, and I think he also did that new Netflix show that nobody likes, or that I heard wasn't great.
Disenchantment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't remember much at all.
Matt Groening is the main guy, but David Cohen is there.
Well,
and Flask, you want to tell us about this next one? This is more your baby than mine.
Oh, it's just Square Enix made a YouTube channel for a lot of its music. They released it on YouTube Music, but also just on this new Square Enix music. What's it called? Is it just called Square Enix Music? The channel itself, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, it's literally called Square Enix Music.
I thought that was too simple.
Excuse me, Square Enix Music channel.
Yeah, they just released tons of music from their games. They organized a lot of it into playlists by like franchise. So you have like, Final Fantasy and everything.
Trying to maximize profit.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, are they making profit from? I guess they are. If they have like ads on this, but it is a it's a nice resource to just listen to their stuff. Apparently, they're also like they're releasing like mixes sometimes now. They're doing like couple hour long DJ mixes on their channel as well. So there's just like, I always find it interesting when companies just suddenly decide one day after many years of nothing or like, hard to find stuff.
My optimistic view is that this is them giving up on copyright strikes in a way, because they're just saying like, fuck it, we'll just release it all out so that other people can't waste it instead.
Could be. I mean, as far as I know,
they're trying to maximize profits.
As far as I know,
you're going to monetize the channel.
Square Enix has had their music on Spotify. I believe I've seen their music on Spotify up to this point. So it wasn't like it was not available on any service. It's just now it's all on YouTube for, quote unquote free.
They have all the Final Fantasy music on here. I'm going through it. I'm like, dang.
Yeah. You can look at the playlist for their larger franchises and then look at the individual uploads for their smaller.
I just subscribed. I'm definitely can use them.
It's pretty neat. Nothing special, but pretty neat.
Cool. Well, I wanted to end the night on a good note. I saw this article while we were speaking, and I haven't had the chance to read it yet, but I like the headline. From the highest paid actor in Hollywood to straight to video B movies, the rise and fall of Bruce Willis. And let me get the subtitle. In the last 8 years, the actor has made 29 films, 23 of which never made it to the cinema. The Parody Awards show the Razzies has also given the actors his own category for worst performance.
When did this come out?
I mean,
this article came out a few days ago. So is this following up off of the hype, not the hype, but like the popularity of that Red Letter Media video that came out recently? I feel like it might be.
Maybe.
That's what I was
Maybe.
thinking, 'cause I thought I was
I don't
like-
think I saw that one.
It was a good
I was
video.
like, didn't I read
It's a
this
fun
or
video.
something? It is. It's a fun
Basically
one.
tackling
yeah,
this
they
exact
pretty much
thing,
explored,
yeah.
It's even worse. And I mean, the real quick spoilers from the video, like the craziest thing he's done. I think we talked about this briefly. He gave a Russian vodka company, you don't want to act in the commercial, so that he just gave them like license
To his likeness.
to deep fake his face onto a different actor for the commercial. That's how lazy he's gotten in these. Oh, the video's great. Yeah, I'll link it. He's like him wearing earpieces and stuff, and then during like movies visibly, and yeah, it's the whole thing.
Hey, I mean, they're gonna pay you, dude. Whatever. He wasn't the Wrath of Man. That's Jason Statham, right? I get Bruce Willis and Jason Statham mixed up constantly.
I saw Cosmic Sin, quote unquote, in theaters because I saw it as a double feature with a different movie and a drive-in during like early pandemic days. You know, when I wasn't going into any place. And yeah, it was fucking terrible. It was just, that's the only one of those I've seen, and it's indicative of all of them. It's just so bad.
Oh man, just
Damn, you are
I
right.
was just
He is
slowly reading
naming
this
a lot
article.
of
Willis's
movies.
last attempt to call back some
Jesus.
procedures in 2015. Having started out in off-Broadway productions after 30 years without cracking the boards, he returned to theater in an adaptation of Misery. The critics shut down his performance with adjectives such as inert and empty. Anyway,
didn't he wasn't he wearing an earpiece in that theater production as well? I'm pretty sure that they
I didn't see
saw
that here, but I wouldn't be
yeah.
surprised.
I mean, I said it in
Well,
the
friends,
video.
that's the Broken Campfire podcast. That's what we do here. We're here to give you the latest Elden Ring updates, the latest gaming news, the latest Bruce Willis. And tonight's episode, I think we succeeded on all three metrics. It's a 3 out of 3 episode. Rarely do we get all three of those in. Right.
Usually wouldn't even attempt it. It's too high a bar.
Just too high a bar, but hey, without Vito, we're unchained.
Truly.
Broken Campfire Unchained. Hit us up on the Twitter. Email us on the email. And hey, friends, if you're out there in that Elden Ring, don't you dare go hollow now, all right? And Vito?
Time for video games, but